Welcome to the new IT, where we talk about the new IT, what's going on in the world and the changes and all this cool stuff. What do we have going on for the show today, Brad?
Today is actually a really good episode. Today we're talking about what are they looking for, and we're actually having a guest on the show, and his name is Kevin, and he's from Zions Bank.
And what does Kevin do at Zions Bank so we can know what?
Well, I was hoping Kevin would have done an introduction to himself. Kevin is an IT recruiter for Zions Bank.
Awesome. Well, cool. We're just going to jump. So the big thing for this show today is we just want to find out we've been talking for a while now, me and Brad, and we have our own visions and ideas of what's out there and what we think the future is and what's going on in the future. But we just want to learn from you, Kevin. What is a corporate company actually looking for? What are the changes you see in the future and that kind of stuff? So do we want to just jump into it?
Let's just jump in.
Ask Kevin some crazy questions. Why should software developers consider working for Zions? Why should they? What is out there?
Well, I don't know if it's just necessarily software developers, but just people in general, like from the IT standpoint. Why Zions?
Yeah.
First off, guys, thanks for having me on the show. Really appreciate it. There are really many reasons one should look at Zions Bancorporation for a technology position. We are actually the second largest hire of technology professionals in the Salt Lake City area. So you're joining many technology professionals in the Salt Lake area. And if you are joining us in person, with that said, we do have many remote positions open. I would say off the top of my head, about 90% of our technology positions can be remote, at least at this time, based upon what I have posted. But if you're going to be in person with Zions Bancorporation in 1 year, we will have a state-of-the-art 400,000 square foot technology center in Midvale, Utah.
Wow.
It shows what Zions Bancorporation is doing and wants to do. We're investing in our people. We're investing in technology by building this huge state-of-the-art 400,000 square foot technology campus.
So long story short, you want to work for Zions.
Absolutely. Makes me want to, and I'm not even in IT.
Yeah. If you're out there tech, I see a lot of stuff out there. You guys seem to be at the kind of the forefront of hiring and always doing something. I see a lot. Do you? I'm just gonna ask it. Is there turnover? I mean, do you have a lot of, or do people really they become a part of Zions and in the technology community? Do they stay there with you? I mean, technology is kind of funky. A lot of people move around and do stuff. But what are you seeing at Zions?
You know, we have great average tenureship here at Zions Bancorporation. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but every time I see them, it is impressive. I myself work with our Enterprise Technology and Operations group, and I've been here for 8 years. And I'm not the only story like that. You see a lot of information out there about Zions Bancorporation because we do a lot of marketing. We do have a lot of roles open because we are a growing organization. Different departments are growing within our Enterprise Technology and Operations group. Excuse me. And we're involved in the community, whether it be Zions Bancorporation, Zions Bank, or our affiliates throughout the West Coast like Amagi, Vectra. We are consistently involved in our communities, and that's why you see our name pop up. And we've been doing stuff like the Paint-a-thon program for, off the top of my head, 20 to 30 years.
Wow.
Utah area. So not only do you drive by all of our buildings here in Utah, but you're going to see us connected to many different organizations, nonprofits, and just efforts throughout our communities.
Love it.
Sounds like you have a really great culture there. I mean, when you think of Zions Bank, I mean, I typically think of just banking. I don't think of like technology. So help me understand that side a little bit more. I mean, why
are you the second largest in Utah?
How are you so big?
We get that a lot when we go to career fairs at universities. We have banners that say technology and IT and images, and the students stop and go, well, you do IT. And maybe it's just because I've been here 8 years, but I always have a laugh or a smile or a smirk. You know, as our CEO said a few years ago, we're not shipping stuff out in crates anymore. Everything you do in banking has some sort of touch point to technology. Everything you do, from going online to making a deposit to doing it over the phone, which I'm sure you guys have done before. So everything you do, whether it's in relation to wealth management or your loan, has some sort of technology aspect to it.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I mean, that's amazing that, I mean, you guys have this much focus on technology, but I mean, like, help me understand. I mean, how is Zions really using it to leverage to their advantage? I mean, is there advantage to using technology for you guys, or help me understand that a little bit more?
Well, we implemented our Future Core program about starting about 8+ years ago. And what that did is it took all of our different platforms that we had across our affiliates, and we implemented something called banks. And that unifies kind of all of our platforms. And what that does at the end of the day is it just creates greater efficiencies. And that's greater efficiencies not just for us as employees, but more importantly for our customers. I mean, the end goal is to really create the best experience for our customers. So if you're a developer, if you're an architect, if you're a data engineer, what you're doing eventually has a touch point with our customers in making their lives a little bit easier, helping them get a loan just a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Cool.
I get it. So, I mean, do you want to tackle the next one? Well, I'll tackle this one.
Yeah.
What is Zions doing to attract talent? I mean, obviously we're in a position right now. I mean, we're talking about the Great Resignation. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but yeah. How is Zions really handling that, and what are you doing to attract talent?
Yeah, so starting from the bottom up, and we are very involved in the universities. We've been to, I think it was, I'm trying to recall off the top of my head, for this internship program, we hired about 74 interns.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
To about 67 different events at universities. Most of them virtual because of good old COVID.
Mm-hmm.
But we're very involved in connecting with universities and hiring our interns, and then hoping to obviously convert them to full-time individuals. From there, we're involved in partnering with over 100 plus diversity sites and partners to showcase our opportunities. And then really probably most importantly is when I'm working with individual managers on posting a role, it's really about the outreach. I always say it's the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, or the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon, whatever it's called. It's not who you know, but who they know. So when we put out a role, we're putting it out to the entire group, the entire department. And at the end of the day, we're all recruiters for the organization. Referrals are some of the best hires you can get. And so putting it out to our network on different social media platforms is a huge asset.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I believe that, referrals is the best because at the end of the day, if you're making sure that your employees are happy, they're going to say, hey, come work with me because this is a great environment to be in.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So how do you, would you say mainly you reach out through schools and stuff like that, which is awesome because that means you're like getting folks before they get ruined by the technology world, right? You get
that's just one portion of it. I mean, we're also involved in different career fairs for people beyond, entry level and just out of the university. We recently did a career fair a handful of months back called the Black Virtual Career Fair, which was really successful and an excellent partnership. So we do stuff like that all the time when we can to add diversity to our organization and add talent. At the end of the day, we want to add to our culture both in skill and personality.
Cool.
What is the culture like? Since you brought it up, I mean, what is the culture like at Zions? I mean,
If you had to define it,
Yeah.
what would you say is the culture?
I think one, it's high integrity, which is very important. I think there's a lot of kindness and empathy. I think that's been seen through how our leadership and just how individuals in the organization have handled working throughout this pandemic. I think, Warren Buffett said it well: if you don't have integrity, you have nothing. So you have to hire people with strong integrity. And one of my old colleagues used to say, "I don't want to hire brilliant jerks." So we want to hire people that are smart, but that are also able and willing to collaborate, that are kind. It's also, work hard, play hard. I say this to every candidate. There's a work-life balance, and that's not lip service. People come in or work from home nowadays, and they work hard. And when they have to go to a kid's recital, when they want to leave a few minutes early to go to the mountains and do a mountain bike ride, nobody's going to give them a side eye because they came in, they did their job, and they worked their tails off.
Well, I love it. So what are openings, man? I'm ready. Let's get man, you got me talked into it. I'm there.
So, I mean,
organization, we have close to 600 roles open.
Wow. Open.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, that's an organization. We have 10,000 people overall.
Wow.
Our enterprise technology and operations group is about 2,000 individuals, which my team supports. And we have about 60 technology-related roles open right now, from Salesforce developer roles to enterprise architects to data engineers, cybersecurity analysts, and so on.
Wow. So how does Zions keep up with all the technology? How do you do that? I'm just curious. When there's so much going on, how does Zions keep at the forefront?
Hiring smart people.
There you go. Right answer.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's really it. I mean, you hire adults, you hire smart people, and you let them do their job, and you let them do it well. We just hired a new CTO, Brian Timoney, who's advancing our technology organization, and phenomenal hire. I have a meeting with him at least once a week, which is just an excellent experience to have a touch point as a recruiting manager with your CTO once a week. Absolutely. And he's going to really advance our organization. And you need to have strong leadership too. It's not just the individuals and the managers you hire, but it needs to start at the top with leadership being open about how we can and should advance our organization. And we have very strong leadership from Harris Simmons to Jennifer Smith in our organization and beyond.
That's awesome.
That is cool.
That's incredible. I mean, like I said, I know we've been talking about this, but I'm still baffled that you guys are second in technology in the state. I mean, that's just it's mind blowing to me.
It's just a bank.
Right?
I don't know. I don't get it.
Who knew?
Right. I mean, if you would have told me that 8 years before I joined the organization, I would have been shocked too. I mean, I worked with large technology organizations out of Chicago, and my head would have tilted like a confused dog. Said second largest bank, really?
Yep.
Technology, but I didn't know to that level 8 years ago before I joined the organization.
And that's exactly it. I mean, kudos to you guys. I mean, you guys are obviously doing something right to be able to get to that point. But I want to take a second and kind of help me understand, like, if I was a candidate trying to apply for one of your jobs, what does the interviewing process look like, or what does it take to get on with Zions?
Yeah, so I mean, the interview process, we try to make it as efficient as possible. Traditionally, it's a half an hour video conversation with the hiring manager. From there, usually around an hour video conversation. And I say video conversation because we're just getting out of the pandemic. Traditionally, we would try to bring people in-house for interviews face to face, obviously if they're local. But this, again, the second interview is usually around an hour conversation, and then possibly a third interview, but usually we wrap it up at that point. So we try to move through our interview process as quickly as possible. All candidates can go to careers.zionsbancorp.com to take a look at all of our different opportunities and apply. And all the recruiting individuals within my group take a look at your application and talk with the manager about your experience, and then connect with you and see how it makes sense to move forward. We talked about this earlier, referrals. If you know somebody, it's always advantageous to throw that down in your application. It's, as they say, it's not about what you know, but who you know sometimes.
So
there's truth.
With that said, I want to know, so how do you get that first interview? What does a potential person have to do? Because you probably get thousands of applicants, right?
Yeah.
I mean, let's come on, let's get honest here. And how the crap do you get through thousands of resumes to find that person to get that first interview? What does that look? What's that process look like? Just so people out there understand it.
Yeah, I mean, it's really not any different than any other good recruiter, right? We're looking for your experience. We're looking for buzzwords in relation to the requirements of the role. We're looking for that kind of 80-20 rule, right? 80% of skill, 20% of potential in what you see in a resume. In relation to that, as candidates are listening, I think it's very important. I always say this: you have one resume, but then you adjust per application. So, if you're applying to a developer role, you're going to have your traditional developer resume and all the experience you have over the past 5-10 years or whatever it may be. But if you see, gosh, they're looking for Python experience, that's one of the most important things in their job description. They're defining that as a must-have, and you have that, and it's like your sixth bullet point. Put that up at the top. Put that up at the top bullet point, and maybe expand on your Python experience so that jumps out right away at the recruiter and the manager that you have Python experience, and that is one of their must-haves. So you don't need to revamp your resume every time you apply, but just to adjust those bullet points and expand a little bit in relation to what that organization is looking for, of course, if you have that experience.
So how often does a canned resume that I've sent out to 50 different companies, and it's obvious that I'm doing that, move anywhere to the top of that list ever?
It does if you have the relatable experience.
Even if you can tell as a hiring manager that this person is obviously didn't really look at the job. They just kind of, this is what I do. I found all these jobs, and now I'm spitting this and not taking the time to do, like you said, even move stuff to the top. I see that all the time, and I immediately ignore those. Ignore them. I think if you don't have the time to make it look like you actually read something about this job, I'm not going to give you the time of day. But I'm curious how you feel about that.
Oh, no, it's extremely frustrating. All recruiters can relate to this when you can obviously tell the person didn't put in the time. We want you to want to work here. I want you to want to work at Zions for many different reasons, whether it be the culture or the stability or you're psyched about the technology center and that is right in your tracks and they're going to have a cafe and you really like coffee, whatever it may be. I want you to want to work here, but you have to show that. And you have to show that from beginning to end, from the time you enter in your application to the time you and I have our last conversation about an offer. With that said, during the pandemic, there were people that you got laid off, and they were applying to a lot of different roles. So I try to give candidates the benefit of the doubt, and if they have the appropriate experience, I will move them forward. But as we go through the interview process, there's so many different data points, from their interaction with me or one of my recruiters, to their interaction with an individual contributor that's interviewing them, to their interaction with the manager, or if they're meeting, in person. How do they interact with the admin, maybe, who meets them at the front door and sits them down in the conference room? So we really try to take a look at all those different data points from beginning to end, and within the structured interview process we have, and then make the best hire.
So it sounds like you guys are really focused on making sure that soft skills are an invaluable asset to being part of the team. I mean, how do you guys deal with that from a technology standpoint, understanding and knowing that most IT personnel have a different viewpoint on culture and team mentality and things of that nature?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very role specific. There are some roles in many organizations where you're a developer, and I used to hear, your heads down, butts up, right? You need to have presentation skills to do that. No, but there are other roles where you do need to have those abilities and experience in interacting with C-level individuals, ability to do a presentation, the ability to take data and transform that into layman's terms and results. So reading emotional intelligence is very hard to do. We're not psychologists here at Zions Bancorporation. I, as a recruiter, I'm not a psychologist. I don't have a degree in it. But you just have to take a look at all data points as you're working through the interview process. We do have a structured interview process where we ask soft skill type questions based upon that particular group and their needs. And then take a look at all the candidates that have interviewed and make the best decision.
So I kind of want to, I guess I just want a good answer. I see something that I feel like I'm a good fit for. I feel really good about it. I don't know anybody at Zions. I have no connections there. What would you say? What would be my first steps to make my best foot forward to get that interview first? Let's say I meet the requirements. What should I do? I mean, just put in my resume, or is there other things I should do?
No, I definitely think you want to go beyond that. I look at myself when I applied to roles, being new to the community 8 years ago. I didn't just throw my hat out there. I tried to do as much networking as I could. So it goes back to what I said before. You have the skills. Adjust your resume with the skills and experience you have in relation to what that team and group is looking for. Apply through careers.zionsbancorp.com, and then try to do some networking, or find that recruiter. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to my team when you reach out to me on LinkedIn, or you find my email and you say, "Hey, Kevin, I applied to this role. I'm very interested. I've done the research. You guys are an excellent organization. What can I do to put my best foot forward?" That means a lot. You're putting in the effort that you guys and I just talked about. And that job doesn't always work out. We've had countless individuals that have interviewed, and they don't work out the first time. The second time, I'll never forget. I had a candidate. They didn't work out. I think it was for 4 different roles off the top of my head, but I knew they were a good candidate. I knew they'd be a fit here, and they eventually were the 5th time.
Wow.
So you also can't get discouraged when that first role isn't a fit.
I love what you said. Reaching out to you specifically or recruiters, that is the proactiveness that you have. I mean, just spitting your resume out there. I think that's the big fault of a lot of potential candidates is they think it's about mass getting out there and trying to get, instead of taking the time, find 5 that really fit you and then really do your due diligence to hammer down, find out who's involved in the hiring. You just said it, and some people will say, "Oh, well, they probably don't want to be bugged and stuff." But I get that you do want to be bugged if it's a good candidate that actually fits the position well.
I'm excited to connect with anybody that's excited about Zions Bancorporation and wants to join it.
Right there.
Well, yeah, I mean that's just it. I think it's just giving that extra over the top feeling is reaching out to somebody. I mean, that's going to speak more volumes than submitting your resume.
Yes.
I mean, gone are the days of having a pile of resumes that you have to sort through. It's jobs. I mean, I know you kind of tied into this, but jobs are given by referrals. So if you can understand and get to know some of these recruiters, it's only going to benefit you and be more beneficial for you in the long run.
This is a big deal. I'm hoping that potential client hires out there that are listening to this understand how important what we are saying is for them.
Absolutely.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I always say I'm happy to be a resource for individuals as I connect with them, because I may not be the right recruiter. They could reach out to me about a wealth management position. My team, we support our enterprise technology and operations group. So I don't know a lot about those roles, but I can tell you this: I do know the recruiter who's managing those roles, and I potentially know the manager who's hiring for those roles. So I am happy to connect you with the right individual if you're psyched about working at Zions Bancorporation. It's not hard for me to do. And it's a quick message that this person's very interested, and that fellow recruiter, you can be just as excited that somebody did their due diligence and is going the extra mile.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is good. This is very good.
Well, and I mean, the biggest takeaway that I got out of that is it's going the extra mile. It's putting in the extra effort to say, I really care about being a part of this organization. I want to be here. This is what I'm going to do to be able to get where I want to be.
Yeah. So true.
I want to know, so what traits are you looking for when they're doing interviews or you're doing interviews? What traits are you looking for from individuals? We've talked about this a lot. The days of the rude IT person is kind of past, and they're going to have a hard time finding a job. What are you looking for as a culture fit?
Yeah, I mean, I think one, we want people who can bring diverse experience, diverse perspectives, and people that have the ability to adapt and who want to innovate. I mean, we're talking about technology and innovating, so I think you need to have that want to not just be status quo. It's somebody that can create, and then kind of basic human traits of, and I mentioned this before, integrity, kindness, empathy, honesty. I don't think we're that much different than many other organizations. We're just looking for good, sharp people that want to do quality work.
Awesome.
That's awesome. I mean, I'm not even.
It's
like
not
I said,
rocket science, people.
It's not, but I mean, it makes me want to come and work for Zions.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, this has been great. You got any last minute questions, Brad, or anything you'd like to shore us up, Kevin? Any last tidbits of information from Zions or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, if you're interested in opportunities at Zions Bancorporation, we have many remote opportunities. I've hired people all across the U.S. over the past few years. And then we also have wonderful opportunities that can be in person, and we'll be in a beautiful state-of-the-art building in about a year, which I myself am extremely excited about. I've seen some renderings of the building, and I just can't wait myself to get in there. And you can apply at careers.zionsbancorp.com. And you can also reach out to Kevin Welch. I'm on LinkedIn. You can reach out to me via email, and I'm happy to be a resource for you, connect you with the right people in Zions to find a great opportunity. I think I'm a good example of the organization. I've been here 8 years, and I work here and like working here because of the people at Zions Bancorporation. It's not about just what I do, it's who I get to work with. You guys know this. We got to do this 8+ hours a day, 5+ days a week. You might as well enjoy who you're working with, and I sure think.
Absolutely.
That's a great way to
It's
end.
almost like they're your extended family. I mean, because you're with them so much. So yeah, I mean, you got to enjoy them. You got to know them.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kevin, for being on the show. I think we've been enlightened here a little bit and kind of understanding what you're looking for, what that side of the world is looking for. I think is really important, and it's the whole point of us doing this show. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, gentlemen. I really appreciate it. I look forward to watching your shows.
Sweet. All right. We ready to head out?
I think we are.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to The New IT. We will see you next time.